For me, it's important that the gardener knows and learns about the natural landscape because this helps him orchestrate the movements of the garden throughout the time. In this case, I want the gardener to understand that the garrigue is a man-made ecosystem and is on a pre-succession stage. So the reasons why it's still stable, it is because of deforestation, fire, grazing, and very poor shallow soils. And this obviously impacts on the shape of the plants and the way they spread through the landscape. Because in this garden the soil is deeper and richer, plants have a completely different behavior and they grow too fast. So sometimes the consequences are leggy looking, they have a shorter lifespan, they are more susceptible to fungus, and they struggle to deal with the summer drought due to their overgrown body mass. They also behave differently. For example, Brachypodium phonicoides in shallow poor soils, it's a medium-sized clump, but when in deep soils it grows massive, it flops all over, creating a mess. Three things I carefully want to manage in this garden is the plant's growth, the plant spreading, and the richness of the soil. The best way I found to manage the plant's growth is by becoming the goat. So goat pruning is constant nipping of the plants at the right time to encourage the base growth, smaller leaves and shorter stems, which helps the plant deal with the evapotranspiration. This improves the shape of certain plants and put them in a better position to deal with the summer drought. It also happens in the coastal landscapes where plants develop wavy shapes because of wind pruning. The way I regulate plant spreading is through selective weeding. Some plants will spread faster than others, having a negative impact on the look of the garden, or they might become too invasive. Some spontaneous plants are welcome as they compete with other weeds or blend in with the planting design. For example, this Malva sylvestris is a spontaneous plant that benefits the community by giving shelter to other plants. I just clear the base to let the light in and will prune it back to base when looking tired, as it is a short-lived plant. Gravel also plays a key role. It reduces weeding and fungal attacks, and it helps the gardener identify non-desired plants and avoids enriching the soil. When a lot of pruning takes place, but you don't want the fallen biomass to enrich the soil, it is good to have an easy solution. In this garden, I planted Mediterranean woodland species around the edges that are okay with richer soils, and they benefit from the pruning compost. Also, combining both into a relatively small space is great for wildlife. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from this section, is that when you design a garden, you have to think really carefully how is it going to be maintained and what the role of the gardener is and what is needed to ensure the long-term success of this garden.